Open the meeting for the Board of Supervisors for January 10th, 2017. They will be going into closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1, conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation, 2 cases, County of Calaveras versus Ross Thornton et al., El Dorado Superior Court case number SC 20150086, and Dennis Ponte versus County of Calaveras et al., Calaveras County Superior Court case number 12CV 38597. We'll convene to closed session. I'd like to welcome you to the Board of Supervisors meeting for January 10th, 2017. We'll have the report out of closed session.
On a motion by Supervisor Oliveira and seconded by Supervisor Clapp, it was approved on a 5-0 vote to approve a settlement agreement with Neil O. Anderson and to approve a settlement agreement regarding satisfaction of judgment with Ross Thornton.
If you would all please stand and join us in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do the board members have any announcements at this time? Our first item of business today is from the Board of Supervisors, the election of the 2017 chair.
Madam Secretary, I'd like to nominate Mike Oliveira as chairman of the board for next year.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have public comment. Public comment today will be 3 minutes.
Marty Crane,
Hold on,
welcome.
Hold on, please.
Oh.
Please.
Welcome to the first board, 2017. I'll be
Wait
quick.
for just a moment.
Okay, I'm not even going to take 3 minutes. My first request is to get rid of it.
There you go.
My first request would be to get rid of that clock. And number 2, as taxpayer, I would like to know how much we paid for that clock. And number 3, please know that these are, as I understand, these are directional microphones. And when Supervisor Clapp, did you make the motion? We can hardly hear you. So whoever please speak directly into the mics and pull up close. Thank you.
Good morning. My name's Bonnie Newman. I'm from the original county seat of Double Springs in the county of Calaveras, which is the county of death. As you know, Calaveras stands for the skulls. What I'm going to talk about today is the selection of a chair. Last year we saw a subversion of our traditional appointment from one year to the next. It was very disheartening to see that action taken. I think it cost 2 supervisors their seat for ignoring what was right and allowing the vice chair to assume the chairship. I hope we see some fairness from this board. I hope we see less shutting up, shutting down, and shutting out of the public and all pertinent opinions. But welcome. I shall be back. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Michael Osgood, and I'm on the road committee for Bar 20, Service Area Number 2.
Sir, this is for public comment on the selection of the chair.
Okay.
There'll be a public comment
I
portion.
thought that was public.
No,
Sorry.
just on this item.
Okay.
Is there any other comments on this item?
Good morning, George Fry. No disrespect to you, Supervisor Oliveira, but because of the injustice last year, I think it's only fair for the constituency in District 2 that they have the opportunity to have their supervisor elected this year. It was such a faux pas last year. I was totally disgusted. And if the board decides not to do that, at least consider Supervisor Garamendi to be the vice chair so that the District 2 can have their constituency recognized for next year. Thank you very much.
Is there any other further public comment?
Mike Falvey, Mountain Ranch. Congratulations, gentlemen. And addressing Mr. Fry's comment, nothing against him, but I'll be happy if our supervisor's here for most of the meetings. And I would not have wanted my supervisor last year to be made chair or vice chair if he wasn't going to be here. So I appreciate you being here now, and I hope you keep it up. Congratulations, Mike.
So we have,
I'll be fast. Alice Montgomery, District 3, we couldn't be happier. We're very proud of our supervisor, Michael Oliveira. We're proud of all that he's done. He does have an open mind. He does listen. He's a huge asset.
so we have a motion on the floor to nominate Supervisor Oliveira by Supervisor Mills and a second by Supervisor Garamendi. All in favor?
Please come back to the board first.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I would be voting against it. I think this is a brand new board. There's 4 new members here. And it was a total rejection of the last board. And I agree with what George Fry said and what Bonnie said. And I would be voting against. I think it should be someone from the new board. And that's how I feel.
Is there any further board comments?
Yeah, I'll say something. I understand where Mr. Clapp is coming from, but we have a unique situation here with this board with 4 new members coming in, one of them with experience, and the tenure on the board, this board is 2 years, and that's Michael. I will be supporting Mike as chair simply because he has been on this board for the last 2 years. In all respect, he will be the person that has the tenure. I think that has to have respect for it. In regards to Jack, I will be making a motion to have Jack be the vice chair. So.
Any more comments? Okay. All those in favor of Supervisor Oliveira as chair, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
The motion is carried. 4-1 vote with Supervisor Clapp voting in the negative. The next item of business is to select the vice chair.
I would move Jack Garamendi, District 2, as vice chair for the this year.
I'll second that.
Is there any public comment? Any further comments by the board? So with the motion by Supervisor Toffenelli to nominate Supervisor Garamendi to serve as the vice chair for 2017 and a second by Supervisor Clapp, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion is carried 5-0. We'll take a 5-minute break to get them in place.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 3 is from the Board of Supervisors to adopt a proclamation recognizing January 2017 as National Mentoring Month and January 19th, 2017 as Thank Your Mentor Day in Calaveras County.
A proclamation will be presented by Vice Chair Garamendi.
May I speak before you read the proclamation? So anybody who wants to join me up here in support of mentoring is more than welcome to, because we have a few people in the audience. Will you come up, Lauren? Karen? Sure. Good morning. Can you hear me if I stand up?
Yes.
My name is Catherine Eustace, and I'm the founding director of the Calaveras Youth Mentoring Program. We are here to ask you to recognize January as National Mentoring Month in Calaveras County. As some of you are new here, you may be asking, why should we celebrate mentoring in Calaveras County? Well, I'm here to answer that question for you. We celebrate mentoring in Calaveras County because more than 150 eager young people have been matched with mentors in the Calaveras Youth Mentoring Program over the past 14 years. We celebrate because our volunteer mentors come from across the county and represent the very best of this community. The program's 30 current matched adult mentors include retired teachers, counselors, and engineers, a physician, 2 nurses, a dental assistant, an optometrist, a documentary filmmaker, an emeritus professor and organizational design expert, team members from SNAC, Pinnacle Physical Therapy, and Bull Mountain Vineyards, and the superintendent of schools, former superintendent of local state parks, and a local sanitary district manager. Each one is a deeply caring and committed individual willing to step out of their comfort zone to share the joys and sorrows of a young friend. We also celebrate our F&L mentoring program, which connects high school mentors with middle school proteges and is now in its 10th year in Calaveras County. More than 500 students have participated in F&L mentoring over the years. We celebrate mentoring in Calaveras County because the Calaveras Youth Mentoring Program and F&L Mentoring have both been recognized as outstanding mentoring programs and received awards at the local, state, and national levels. We celebrate because thanks to a strong, enduring community guidance and generosity, the Calaveras Mentoring Foundation has successfully financially supported our mentoring programs every year since the foundation was created 5 years ago. And finally, the most important reason of all that we should celebrate mentoring in our community, the young people who join our programs. As you may know, we're fortunate in Calaveras County to have some pretty amazing kids. Kids who believe in friendship, connection, and their future. Kids who face life's challenges with strength, resilience, creativity, and hope. Kids who are willing to invite a safe adult into their lives who believes in them and wants to invest in their greatness. Your proclamation today describes the need for more mentors. Every youth who wants a mentor should have one, but not every young person gets one. We have 17 boys across our county eagerly waiting for mentors right now. Please look over the list you have in front of you and contact us if you know someone who would make a great mentor for one of these amazing kids. Thank you, and happy National Mentoring Month. You may now read the proclamation.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you. Why don't you guys come forward? You guys all three of honor. And, I guess take orders.
There are a lot of other people here who are associated with the program. If you want to
Any other mentors want to come on up?
the Three Brothers, Big Sisters program that was the germ for this whole idea.
Well,
So many years ago.
come on up.
Someone just requested that you make those flyers with the children waiting available today. if
They're
you
on
have
our
extra ones.
website, always on the mentoring program website.
I'd like,
If we can get some copies, that would be great.
well, thank you guys very much. This is a great program, and you guys do wonderful work. Thank you. So I am to read the resolution. This is a resolution proclaiming January as National Mentoring Month and January 19th, 2017 as Thank You Mentor Day. So thank you in advance of the 17th. Whereas the future of Calaveras County rests on the hopes and dreams of its children and youth, and whereas too many of our youth face struggles with alcohol and other drugs, gangs, teen pregnancies, and educational failure, and mentors and mentors act as positive role models for them. And whereas relationships with caring mentors offer youth valuable support, friendship, and guidance towards making healthy life decisions. And whereas research has shown that mentored youth are less likely to skip school, less likely to start using drugs, and less likely to start drinking. And whereas mentoring after-school programs, mentor coalitions, as well as public and private organizations throughout California are committed to increasing the number of quality mentors available. And whereas there are local youths in 1st through 12th grades waiting for mentors. And whereas National Mentoring Month provides an opportunity to recognize and commend the efforts of mentors and raise community awareness of the importance of mentoring. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors of Calaveras County hereby declares January 2017 as National Mentoring Month and January 19th, 2017 as Thank Your Mentor Day. And be it further proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors encourages Calaveras residents to honor the role models in their lives by becoming mentors to local youth. Thank you all very, very much.
What's that? You gotta do a motion. Yeah. No, it's not. Wait, Mr. Chair, I so move, because we do need a motion here.
That is correct. We do need a motion for this. It's been moved to accept this proclamation.
I'll second.
Seconded by Supervisor Tofinelli. Any public comments? Call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. There you go.
Public comment. Any item of interest to the public that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board and is not posted on the consent or regular agendas may be addressed during this time. California law prohibits the board from taking action on any matter which is not posted on the agenda unless it is determined to be an emergency by the Board of Supervisors. If public comment is completed before the 30-minute allotted time period, the board may immediately move to the regular agenda. If public comment is not completed during the allotted time period, it will be continued at the conclusion of the regular agenda in order to provide an opportunity for the remainder of comments to be heard.
Board Clerk, I have an issue that I'd like to discuss regarding public comment. I'd like to increase the time limit from 3 minutes to 4 minutes. Is there any opposition from the board?
Is it difficult for you on the clock?
It will take me just a moment to fix it.
Can I do that, counsel?
Your option.
Great. If we can make it 4 minutes, I think that'll suffice. Oh, we're still playing with the clock.
That's okay, it won't take me very long. Hi, I'm Kathy Zancanella, I'm the airport manager, have been for 27 years. Came from the old airport 40 years ago, so Dennis, you came out to visit me, I appreciate that. And I just want to see you guys, let you see me, and I'm a native Calveritas person. Even more native than Jack is, because I'm older. Anyway, I would invite you to come out to the airport and see what we have going out there. We're one of the best airports in the California, for that matter, of our size. We're very proud of what we've done. We've had great support from all of the county departments as well as the supervisors, and I thank you all for that. And that's all. I just wanted to check in with you and invite you out to say hi, and if you have if the weather's good, we'll take an airplane ride. Nice county to see from the air. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Okay, I got it right this time? Okay. I'm Mike Osgood, and I'm and Bar 20 CSA number 2, which is Stallion Way. I'm one of the road committee members, and I'm here to ask you to reconsider issuing permits for the commercial cannabis growers in our subdivision. I understand that there are 9 applications in our service area applying for permits. We have seen a large increase in traffic going and coming from these commercial sites. We don't generate a lot of money for maintaining our roads. We already have issues with the towers at the top of the hill. Most of them are used by our government. We do not get any revenue from them for maintaining our roads. If you issue a commercial growers these permits, we will never be able to keep up with our maintenance and repairs on those roads. I'm requesting that if you do approve these permits, that you take over the CSA number 2 and make it a county road maintained by the county, or limit it to 1 or 2 commercial growers and have them pay more for road maintenance than the regular property owners. We have a total of 72 lots, and if you approve all 9, I'm not sure where this is going to go and how we would be able to handle the traffic and the smell. Stallion Way is a 1-lane gravel road with many blind turns and no guard railing. To my knowledge, this road was never intended for commercial use. There was a property owner who wanted to have a care facility for elderly people, and the county would not issue a permit because the road did not meet county standards. I'm not sure what has changed, if anything is different today. So thank you for your time, and I hope you will consider those 9 applications. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Good morning. My name is Raymond Smith. I'm from Valley Springs. However, I'm also from District 2. I'm here today to sort of testify about the ban on medical marijuana cultivation in the county. I was in the Malvar parking lot, sort of approached and asked some questions about the ordinance from the gentleman. They didn't really have a fair answer for me. They didn't even have the ordinance with them. I had to go home and pick it up. I thought that was sort of questionable, so I was sort of asking for the man's name. He only gave me his first name. Personally, I just had a piece of paper and a pen. I went and wrote his license plate number down because I wanted to see if all that was actually legitimate, gathering signatures without the measure. And interestingly enough, I just wanted to bring the measure that I printed out at home back to them. However, they had followed me back to my car, wrote my license plate number down, and actually started to file a report with the deputy by the time I came back. So I had a chance to talk with the deputies about, why I was, cordially trying to start a conversation with them and ask, become educated about what they were trying to gather signatures from so that I may, support that. However, I really couldn't, move forward with that after talking with the deputies. I didn't want to cause a scene in the parking lot of my neighborhood grocery store. I just followed up with the deputies about coming here and maybe speaking about the issue in public comment, which would be a more cordial environment for that. And I also have some information here which I'm going to share with you via email, each one of you. It is a finding by the NCIB, which is a national government agency. It's on the effect of medical marijuana laws and crime with the states. Let me see here. It was an effective medical marijuana climb used in fixed effect panel, exploiting within the state variation introduced by the passage of medical marijuana law in 11 states over a 17-year period. So this is a comprehensive, basically compiling of several studies that the government has put together, which basically I will read the findings and the conclusions now. The results did not indicate crime exacerbation by the effects of medical marijuana law on any of the Part 1 offenses. Alternatively, state medical marijuana law may be correlated with a reduction of homicide and assault rates, net to other covariates. They're very legal terms. Involved in the intimate partner violence of young adulthood and consent medical marijuana use.
30
I'm
seconds.
sorry. Yes. It's just very important that I don't support really the commercial marijuana, although I do think it is very necessary in its place. What I do support is the patients and the caregivers. That's just my background. There are other people that support the commercial. I think we should take the 200 square foot limit from the patients and push it up to the state limit of 500 square feet because it's...
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank you. Have a good day.
Good morning, Dina Morris, and I'd like to say congratulations to all of you. Secondly, I'd like to talk about public safety. As a matter of public safety, we've been monitoring marijuana-related crimes. And so I wanted to take a few minutes and read to you the marijuana-related crime headlines and news alerts for 2015 and 2016. So I'll start with 2015. July 15th, man dies in fire at site of pot garden robbery. August 7th, state agents remove 12,000 pot plants. August 15th, state eradicate 12,000 pot plants near West Point. September 1st, fire did not kill MJB Ranch Road resident. September 17th, 76 arrested in Stockton gang operation. 9 of those arrests were made in Copperopolis. October 19th, Angels man arrested for drug possession. October 20th, deadly harvest pot garden thefts lead to 3 deaths, 2 arrests near Railroad Flat. October 20th, 2 Angel Camp traffic stops leads to 4 arrests. October 22nd, 3 dead after alleged pot garden thefts. October 26th, Railroad Flat shooting victims identified. October 29th, man shot on MJB Ranch Road. November 2nd, no plea Monday morning from marijuana garden slaying suspect. November 16th, deputies called twice to the scene of triple homicide. November 30th, Jeremiah Lee Barrett pleads not guilty. Now I'll read you 2016. January 22nd, 4th man confirms 3 slain men stealing marijuana. May 26th, 10,800 marijuana seedlings eradicated in Copperopolis by Sheriff's Office. May 26th, assault with deadly weapon warrant turns up marijuana grow site. May 26th, Sheriff's Office destroys 7,000 pot plants near San Andreas. June 1st, officers eradicate 3,536 pot plants at illegal garden near Hogan Dam Road. July 14th, Angels Camp police arrest Sacramento man on meth charges. July 15th, fires caused by negligence in marijuana gardens, $1,408,664 in suppression costs. July 20th, CAL FIRE says 4 recent Calaveras County fires caused by negligent cannabis growers. July 25th, Murphy's burglary from Calaveras County Sheriff's Office. August 1st, West Point area raid eradicates 23,245 pot plants. August 26th, Valley Springs search warrant from Calaveras County Sheriff's Office. August 29th, woman arrested for starting 450-acre willow fire near San Andreas. August 30th, armed intruders rob marijuana plants from San Andreas.
30 seconds.
September 5th, West Point woman accused of killing son awaits trial. September 6th, deputies removed thousands of marijuana plants. September 8th, 7 acres of chopped down near marijuana Mountain Ranch. July 12th, concerns grow over marijuana harvest. There's a whole nother page of articles that I don't have time to read here. But my point is, public safety needs to come first. And clearly, the commercial marijuana industry is not helping public safety. Thank you.
Good morning. Congratulations to the new board. My name is Bill McManus. I'm with the chairman of the Committee to Ban Commercial Cultivation in Calaveras County. I just want to continue on a little bit with what my colleague was talking to you about, and that's the issue of public safety. Not only you're getting the full list of crimes that we've been keeping track of on our website. It's turned out to be quite a job to keep up with it and get all the news sources to accumulate everything. In the meantime, I received a document generated by the Sheriff's Department, which lists all of the marijuana-related crimes committed in the county. Unfortunately, I didn't have time or paper to make copies for you this morning, but it does show a huge increase in marijuana-related crime over the last couple of years. It seems to be doubling and doubling as we go forward. The gist of what I'm trying to get at is, again, what my colleague alluded to, and that's public safety. I'm hoping that with the new board moving forward, we will see a new era and a new way of thinking by this board, and that the sheriff of our county is a constitutional officer, just like each one of you are. The sheriff should be in charge of his department without being micromanaged. He should be supported with whatever resources and tools he needs to get the job done. Sheriff DeBasilio has done a terrific job stepping in and running the sheriff's department since the untimely death of Sheriff Kuntz. We just like to see him supported in what he's doing. He is the second most powerful law enforcement officer in the state of California, right behind the governor. So we're hoping that this board will act differently than past boards, and I mean over decades, where the Sheriff's Department has slowly been pushed to the margin in favor of other funding, and public safety has been the victim of that marginalization of the Sheriff's Department. Just as an aside almost, I wanted to take just a few seconds, the clock's not on, just a few seconds to announce to the board, to those here, that the signatures that we turned in as part of our signature drive to get the draft ordinance onto the ballot received notification yesterday from the Elections Department that the signatures were sufficient. 5,210 signatures were turned in. The rate of approval was at 87%, which is extremely high, and so that we're looking at total votes likely to have, if they checked them all, in excess of 4,500. It's like 4,533. So in the days and weeks to come, we'll be moving forward to prepare information for the board, and it's my understanding that somewhere around January 24th, the item will appear before you or come before you to be placed on an agenda for discussion. I'd like to ask that, I know you will all carefully consider it. We've put a lot of work into this, and at this point, I want to thank the over 75 petition circulators who gave up 2 months of their life
30 seconds.
to cover every single corner, intersection, supermarket, wide spot in the road, you name it. They were out there getting signatures. And I find it hard to believe the comment I heard earlier that the draft ordinance wasn't available to them. It is part and parcel of the petition. It is in the petition. It is on our website. We had extra copies available. We trained our people very carefully to avoid situations like this. They did a magnificent job, and 87% success rate is notable. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Vicki Reinke, and I'm here speaking on behalf of Calaveras residents against commercial marijuana. And congratulations to all of you who are new board members and returning board members. I'm looking forward to a great 2017. And yes, we're bringing up this topic of marijuana cultivation because it has been a big issue in our county, as you all know, as you were running for office for quite a while. And so I wanted to take the opportunity to speak on behalf of our committee. What we want to ask is that you would seriously consider adopting the ban initiative when it comes forward to you, which I believe would be on your January 24th meeting, according to election code. And the people of Calaveras County, I believe, has sent a very clear message to our Board of Supervisors and our county departments that they do not want marijuana cultivation here in Calaveras County. And we've used the legislative process to do that, which is what we should do as citizens. So this is how we get our voice heard, by doing such things as petitions, voting, and so forth. So that's something I believe you should be looking at and following up with. Twice the voters have signed petitions asking to ban the commercial marijuana in our county. The first one, we had over 3,400 signatures were gathered, and those 3,400 voters that signed those petitions were disenfranchised due to a formatting issue on the petition. So the intent was all there. The people that signed it were serious about what they were doing, but it didn't go through. And the second time, as you just heard, over 5,200 signatures were gathered, and those signatures, glad to hear, were verified, and now this will be on a ballot, or as we are asking, the Board of Supervisors can accept it as the new law, as if it was voted by the people. The pro-marijuana group also gathered signatures and put a measure on the November 2016 ballot, which was Measure D, and that was for the voters to vote on it. It was defeated by 53.56% of the voters. And by the way, there was an 80% voter turnout in our county on the last election. I was a little skeptical of that, but I looked, and it was throughout the whole county that was an 80% average on voting. So that meant people were out because they care. Measure D was defeated in every supervisorial district except District 2 by just maybe 3 or 4 votes. So it was very close. 2 supervisors lost their seats in November. Both were in support of the commercial marijuana, so we can probably connect the dots and say, sadly, that's why they are no longer with us on our board. The voters of Calaveras County also voted against Proposition 64, the initiative to legalize recreational marijuana. So we are a very different county than most of them in California, and I think we feel like we need to be represented here, and that's why we have local government. This should be a clear message to each of you who are elected to represent this county. It really isn't that difficult. Listen to the people and adopt the ban initiative when it comes forward to you, and stop this battle once and for all. Make it simple. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I think Diane's doing a fabulous job with the timing. It's worked well for a long time. And as a taxpayer, speaking in front of the board that spends our tax dollars, that determines how we spend our money, at the very basic level, I think today we should begin to exercise transparency in government and say it out loud. How much did that clock cost us? And someone here on this board should know today, right now. And we have one board member who's been here all along when that was ordered. So transparency is a word that people like to throw out there all the time, but implementing it is a little bit more of a challenge sometimes, requires a big effort, concerted effort. We've heard a lot of issues just this morning, and people saying that people have spoken. Well, the people that spoke to them. But there are many voters out there that should be given the chance to say yes or no on any of these issues. And so I would not like to see the board just say, hey, because X number of people said they agree with you, we're just going to implement that. The petitions on all these different issues were submitted for the people to vote on. And I think that's where we should go with that. So like I said, I still want to know, as a taxpayer, this is a small thing, but small things add up, and there are many issues in the county that could, I don't know how much that clock costs, but if it was $1,000, $1,000 to the mentoring program would go a long way. $1,000 to the volunteer center would go a long way. Humane Society would go a long way. I get that these are nonprofits, but there are many issues in the county where a little bit of money can go a long way. So thank you, and let's say it out loud today, please. Thank you.
Good morning, gentlemen. My name is Gerald Van Sickle. I came up here in 1963 to smell trees, grass, but not marijuana. I have 23 acres on the Stallion Way, which Mike Osgood testified. The traffic is unbelievable. The people that come up down there are from Oregon, Washington, Nevada. Mexicans come up there to work in the field. Sometimes I have 30 or 40 people coming up there working. There's one greenhouse up there. There's 3 greenhouses that maybe is 30 to 60 feet long, 12 feet wide. The rumor is the guy made $2 million. Now, for the board to accept all that wonderful money for the bids, that's $5,000. Is it in your retirement program and all that stuff? This money is going into our grocery stores, going into our public, and it's dirty money. Hey, when I was a young man, I smoked that local weed. But again, we didn't have weed like you have today. You take several puffs, you drag it around, and you laugh and joke around. The stuff you smoke nowadays is #1 in Mexico. It beats out Mexico marijuana. It is potent stuff. 2 joints, and you're taking a trip. Not just and for this medical marijuana, we have a wonderful place called medicine. Let them work on it. Now, I'm sorry for all the BS about things, but the traffic on Stallion is killing us. I'm on part of the help on the road committee, and I do my best to help fill up holes. And I go get a neighbor over there, and we get a backhoe, and we go over there and fill up the holes. And these people come flying down the hill. They don't care. They're doing like 50 miles an hour on a gravel road. 40 miles an hour. I'm a person that likes to get up early in the morning and seeing the sun rise, because I came up here from the city. In the city, everything looks the same day after day after day. Up here, it's beautiful. We get the weather change. We get the things changing all the time. I came up here, there was, as I said, no signal lights. I love this place, and I'd like to see it can keep on going. But we need to get rid of this marijuana and the medical marijuana too. We don't need it. And we have a new boy up there called the President of the United States that doesn't like pot. And we should seriously think about it. And all this dirty money that's coming into our county, it should leave. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, is there any other speakers besides Bonnie? Yeah, in compliance with our labor laws, we have to give our clerk board a break. So we're going to be taking a 10-minute break.
We also have met the 30 minutes after one more speaker.
Oh,
so any other public comments would be heard at the end of the meeting.
Then let's go ahead and listen to Bonnie, and then that'll be our 30-minute time limit. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I not only want to know how much the clock costs, but I want to know whose brainy idea it was to buy it. A clock next to a clock, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, well, when we find out how much it costs, maybe. Anyway, I'm here today to talk about the IHSS Advisory Committee. When we see our agenda every week, we notice that the County Board of Supervisors is listed in several different ways, not only as the Board of Supervisors, but also As the In-Home Supportive Services Public Authority, the Calaveras County Air Pollution Control District, and a couple of community service areas. That's because the board has to take special time to adjourn and reconvene as a special entity called the IHSS Public Authority. I'm going to be coming and giving you information on this very important, underestimated and regulated, not regulated, but lack of attention given to the IHSS Advisory Committee, which is designed to provide input to you folks about taking care of the elderly, the disabled, the sick, the injured, and the diseased in their homes, rather than shuffling them off to a state-run facility, which will cost $4,000 to $5,000 a month. We think the In-Home Supportive Services program is one of the most cost-effective programs around. For every dollar that the county puts into it, the state puts in $2 and the federal government puts in $3. So far, that's been the ratio. With the new government coming into place at the federal level, we feel that this program might be in jeopardy, it might be threatened, and we're concerned about the care and welfare of the consumers that we provide care for. Very restrictive requirements for this program, and if anybody's knocked off the list, we're talking about the poorest, the sickest, and the least able to defend themselves people being left without care in the home, which allows them to live independently, hopefully with health and safety, without the fear of disease and infection. And we're talking about over 300 people in Calaveras County in this program. We're also talking about almost 400 people in this county that provide services for these people. That is 400 care providers who are minimum wage workers, who have not had a cost of living adjustment except for the minimum wage increase in January since 2009. You'll hear more about the disparity in wages at a future time, but right now I just want you to be aware of your responsibility to this group. Not only the advisory committee, but the people that they're serving and hoping to keep healthy and safely in their homes. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, before we take the break, the purpose of taking a break at this time is that hourly employees under federal government wage laws are required to take a 15-minute break every 4 hours, and also a 30-minute break by the beginning of the 5th hour of every day. And this board is going to be committed to following federal law when it comes to taking these breaks. That's the purpose.
Okay, folks, we'll be on break for about 15 minutes. We'll convene back at 10:35. Changing on.
I'm sorry, could you wait till the video starts?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. We're good.
We're good now.
Okay.
The consent agenda. Consent agenda items are expected to be routine and non-controversial. They'll be acted upon by the board at one time without discussion. Any board member, staff member, or interested party may request the removal of an item from the consent agenda for later discussion. Is there any items to be removed from the consent agenda by the public? Any items to be removed from the consent agenda by the board? I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Public comment?
It just says that the public comment will be at the conclusion of the consent agenda, not the regular agenda. When you said
It's a typo.
The regular public comment period that we had to cut short because of our 30 time, that will take place after the regular agenda. We're talking about,
It'll be after the consent.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Well, it's just opposite of what it says here on the agenda.
Point of order. Point of order. What do you got? Just a point of order.
It's just a point of order? Okay. Yeah, we're talking about the consent agenda, public comment on the consent agenda right now, and that's it. Our regular general public comment will take place after, that we weren't able to get to those folks, will take place after the regular agenda. Okay,
Chair,
is
you
that
have
clear?
Chair, you have the right to make that move.
Yeah. And that's the chair's decision on that. Okay. I have been voted and seconded to accept the consent agenda. Public comment's been called for. Can I call for a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Passes 5-0.
I can't remember the last time that happened.
We're doing a good job, right, George? Ladies and gentlemen, that'll take us to our regular agenda.
So item 18 is from the Administrative Office to receive a report from staff, Cal OES, FEMA, and local organizations regarding the ongoing Butte fire recovery.
Good morning. Brian Moss, Administrative Office. This is a monthly report to the Board of Supervisors. Some of you are already aware of this. As part of the Butte fire recovery, to update the board as to what's happening in the recovery efforts. It includes county departments. It includes Calaveras Recovers. It's a very active group up in Mountain Ranch in the recovery process. So with that said, you're going to be seeing this item come before you once a month. It gives you an opportunity to ask questions about the recovery efforts and the recovery process. And at this point, what I normally do is turn this over to any department heads that would like to share. Now, just so the board is aware, I always make sure that we let the department heads know ahead of time, including Calaveras Recovers, this is the board meeting, they have an opportunity to speak.
Chair, just a point. Calaveras Recovers said that they will be back at 12:30 this afternoon. The board, just to let the board know that Calaveras Recovers will be back at 12:30 this afternoon. Could we possibly delay her portion of it until she's back? In other words, we speak to all of your issues, the issues that you may bring forward.
Chairman Supervisor Mills, yes, we can do that. We can
Thank
have them bifurcated into.
That's what I'm asking for. Yes, thank you.
Very good.
All right, let's make that happen then. Any other department heads wish to report out?
Good morning, Mel Knight, Environmental Management Agency. As your board may know, we completed a very successful £500 million potentially hazardous burn debris removal as part of this program done by the state agencies. The only remaining activity on that relates to a duplication of benefits requirement. It involves some insurance invoicing. We will be meeting with your vice chair and others to make sure that the existing contract is implemented in a way that is efficient and effectively deals with community sentiments. And if you have any questions, I'd be glad to address those.
Chair, Mr. Knight, thank you very much for your work and working with me over the last couple months and prepping for this position and talking about this really important issue that's going to impact a lot of residents in District 2 and in the fire in the burn scar. I want to just confirm that we are working with Lake County and Kern County to make sure, because they're doing these very similar activities as us.
Yeah, very much so. In fact, but actually neither is doing something that actually appears to be in line with what was originally planned. So that's one reason why I'm in daily contact, in fact, with both. This is a complex activity. Lake County has a very different set of staffing issues than Calaveras, and Kern County even more so. So we're trying to balance those things, and we're looking at different models. We do have a contract in place, and our contractor appears to be flexible on implementation based on what we may find out on any way to either streamline or make this more efficient and effective in the community.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Jeff Krovitz, Public Works.
The current active push on fire recovery for Butte Fire has to do with burn tree removal throughout the burn zone. There have been a number of delays with the clearance of the hazard tree removal through its NEPA clearance, which is required because federal funds are targeted to reimburse this work. As a result, the Board of Supervisors 2 months ago declared a local state of emergency to give Public Works the ability to remove exigent trees that are in immediate danger, potential immediate danger of falling onto the public roadways. Following that local state of emergency, Public Works developed an RFP, request for proposals, that was published online for a contractor to be able to do some on-call services to remove trees that the arborists determined were potentially going to fall before our larger contract could be approved by NEPA. The responses to these proposals were received, reviewed. 2 of the 3 respondents were deemed to be qualified, and we have negotiated with one of them and are expecting signature on that any day. Once we issue a notice to proceed, they have about 48 hours in which to remove trees. We currently have about 13 or 14 trees that have been identified within the burn area for immediate removal. This work may occur outside of FEMA reimbursement, but we are doing it in accordance with FEMA circular rules in hopes that we can get full reimbursement for this small number of trees, and then also have some capacity if there are additional trees that need to be removed outside the purview of our larger contract that was awarded last summer. In terms of the larger contract, we received notice on the 29th of December 2016 that the NEPA findings were approved by both SHPO for archaeological and FEMA. There was a meeting a week later on the 6th in Sacramento to discuss the implementation of the archaeological treatment plan, and FEMA is currently finalizing the project worksheet to make sure it's consistent with the NEPA findings. So we are expecting to start work within 1 to 2 weeks. Early work that will start will be getting monitors out in the field to be monitoring endangered species, as well as archaeological sites that could contain historic artifacts or cultural artifacts. So we're expecting that program gets fully rolling early February. We expect it to be 3 to 4 months, although some of the new requirements with the under NEPA requires that we stop all work when we're notified of 1/10 of an inch of rain or more, and then we have to hold work for 24 hours following the end of that rain event. So that may slow us down a little bit depending on what the weather brings. Any questions on this program?
Yeah, Mr. Crovis, for the benefit of our folks here in the television land, if you will, could you explain what NEPA is?
NEPA is the National Environmental Protection Act, and anytime there are federal funds going to the public, the requirements of that act must be met and cleared to enable work to occur. So hopefully that clarifies it.
Thank you.
Further questions from the board?
Mr. Krovitz, thank you again, and thank you for taking the time last week to meet regarding Harbor Road and Calaveras Recovers and how we're going to get that fixed. I was hoping that in our next report we could go into detail about the road construction and the timelines that go around that, as well as the federal and state dollar reimbursement, how that whole puzzle comes together. It's not a small question, but hopefully we could get some grounding in there.
Okay, will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before you go, Jeff, thank you for what you're doing. I'll just let you're fully aware I've been sitting in this audience now for months and months and months listening to these reports as they go forward, and it's a difficult process for sure. You add all of this rain to it, and it's creating an issue, I'm sure. So hopefully we'll work it through, and we'll get on to taking care of the business.
Thank you.
Supervisors, if I could just ask that you pull your microphones closer and that you speak directly into them so that the public can hear you. closer. Thank you.
You'll be chastised for that for a while.
We're learning.
Sharon Torrance, Public Information Officer for Butte Fire Recovery and all other duties as required. I have been working closely with our Public Works Department, with roads, with putting out media press releases. I've been posting on Facebook and also doing radio interviews, trying to get the word out about what's going on with Butte Fire Recovery. I've also been working closely with environmental management. I've learned a lot this last year. This is my first county experience. I worked for the state for many years, and working for the county and the board has been interesting. And it seems like I learn something new every day. The people that I've been working with have been fantastic. I have a great rapport with our media, and that's about it. I try to put out information on what's going on with the Butte Fire area for those residents, anything that applies to them that would be interesting to them, and I've had really good response. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Rebecca Callan, Auditor Controller. Congratulations on the new board. Very excited to be working with all of you. I wanted to give you an update. Several meetings ago, it was discussed that the county may be on the hook for the county match on the public assistance grant related to the debris removal. It had been, my office's understanding, also the administrative office, that the county was not going to be on the hook for that match. That was, anywhere between $600,000 and $800,000. So discovering that there was the potential that the county was going to be on the hook for that was a little shocking. Anyway, I just got off the phone with Cal OES. We are not on the hook for that. The state will be covering that 6.25% match. I do have it in writing. They're not exactly sure how they're going to do it and how they're going to write it up, but it will occur. So I just wanted to put the board's mind at ease and the public's mind at ease that that will be an exposure that our local taxpayers will not be having to fund with general fund dollars.
Good.
Yeah.
Did it
Ms.
right.
Callan, that's great news.
Yes.
That was something that we were pretty well concerned with through this entire ordeal.
Yep.
Thank you to your office. Thank you to everybody else that has something to do with that.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Any other reports from department heads? Next agenda item then?
Public comment.
Oh, public comment, I'm sorry. Public comment on this issue? Seeing no public comment,
Chair, then we will pick the remaining part of this up when Calaveras recovers. We'll pick the remaining part of this up when Calaveras recovers, comes back
At
after lunch.
12:30.
Thank you.
okay. So we'll table that until then.
Item 19 is from the Public Works Department to conduct a public hearing and adopt a resolution to approve the 2017 Calaveras Transit Service Plan.
Thank you. Jeff Krovitz, Public Works. A year ago, the Board of Supervisors was presented with a short-range transit plan, which was a number of years in study and making, containing recommendations for operational and service modifications to the county-operated transit system. The Board of Supervisors voted to support a county efficiency model, and staff began working on viable pieces of that model. For the last 6 months, county staff has been actively involved, working with the operators, stakeholders, and our customers to improve the efficiency of the services provided. Service changes to Calaveras Transit were introduced at the December 13th Board of Supervisor hearing, and the public comment period has been open and ongoing since that introduction. The goals of the service changes that we are proposing in this round for 2017 are to increase our ridership, modify the expensive routes that have low ridership to try to get at least equivalent service at less cost. We're trying to make improvements that can be sustained or sustainable, designing routes where and when there is a demand from the riders. We also are trying to improve our fare box recovery ratio. Our target goal is at 10%. For 2015, we were just under 9.5%. So this item will be presented by staff, our business administrator, Kelly Zanheiser, and our transit manager, Deborah Mullen. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Welcome, board. Am I on? As Jeff said, low ridership has been our stumbling block here, and what we're bringing you today is something to put people on the buses. In our outreach and in the work we've done to get input from the community, community groups, individuals, everywhere around the county, what we've found is that people do want to ride transit. They want it to be convenient for them. They want it to meet their needs. So what we have is a complete overhaul, a complete revision of the service that has been run for the last few years. We'll go through the routes and maps so that you have an idea, but we'll talk about in general what the highlights are, what the big changes are. The really important thing that we're doing is increasing frequency on a main route that's going to run approximately every 90 minutes between Valley Springs and Angels Camp, 6 times daily, extending on to Columbia College to serve our county residents who do go to Tuolumne County. And this is following the recommendations of the short-range transit plan. The other thing important to do is to make the feeder routes connect to that main route, so people coming from other areas of the county can transfer to a bus that's going to get them where they want to go. So we'll look over the overall route plan, and I was going to give you a kind of a listing of what community groups contributed to the effort, but I'm so afraid that I'll leave somebody out. But I'll leave to say that we got a lot of help, a lot of input, and there's a lot of interested people in the community, all parts. We worked with the schools, the other transit agencies, business associations, and various social service agencies. So our mission, and I have copies of the PowerPoint here. Mission to provide safe and effective, cost-effective public transportation services throughout the county to serve the mobility needs of residents and visitors who need public transportation. So we have, if you want to see a slide at the end that has our current service, if you want to compare. But we'll just go through the routes. This is the red line, this is the main line. In the short-range transit plan is referred to as the spine, and it will be to provide consistent service. If you find these maps a little rough, don't despair. We're going to get some better maps. These are for discussion purposes, so we can know what we're talking about. At the last meeting when this system was introduced, we just had the schedules. They don't stand alone very well. So thank you to our GIS department for putting together these maps. So this is the red line that you can see. There's a lot of time points. The green lines are the zone changes where we have a distance-based fare structure. So if you go a longer distance, as you go through, you pay through another quarter into the fare box. The fare structure is not proposed to be changed in this revised system, with one exception, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. So essentially, it's all the same. It's $2 for a regular fare, $1 for discounted, which is for people 65 years and older, or people with eligible disabilities. And so it's an efficient way to travel if the bus is going where you need to go.
Chair, I got a question.
Yes, please.
Yes. The red line, and we're going blue line, we're going down this line. There's no numbers on here specifically on how well each line is doing as far as fare box recovery for this particular line, ridership for this particular line. Are those numbers available for each?
We did that deliberately, changing the numbers to colors so that because they're changing, it won't be a straight across comparison to previous years. We'll have to start fresh on the performance metrics, and really it'll be starting at the beginning, because what the red line is used to be Route 1 with a little chunk of it between Angels and Columbia was another route, was 4, yes. And and Route 4 then went up from Columbia College then up to Arnold. So it's completely different, and that was something specifically called out in the short-range transit plan, that it was confusing for riders to ride from, say, San Andreas to Columbia College when they're actually, and they'd be changing a route in the middle when they're actually staying on the same bus. So it functions as one route, and that's what we're going to do.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so the blue line from Angels Camp to Arnold, between Angels Camp and Arnold, has good frequency 5 times a day. And you have to go to the... So that should be more convenient. And the real special thing about this, I mentioned the connections. What the problem with our current routes and the improvements we're proposing are that better connection so that people in Arnold will be able to catch the Delta Gold Line in San Andreas, make those connections so they can go to Stockton, get from one place to another more readily. And then we'll be able to market the Delta Gold Line to our neighbors up the hill, because right now they can't really use it except to catch the afternoon. So now they'll be able to catch the morning Delta Gold Line. Okay. Moving on to Copper Line is going to be different in that you can click it again. That little box floats up. It's going to accommodate on-demand service to some of the neighborhoods off of Copper Cove Drive and off of Little John Road. Those neighborhoods with streets that are wide enough for the bus to get in, and road loops that the bus can get out again. But it'll be on demand, so people that live within those residential areas can call dispatch and get picked up. And I think we'll service a lot more riders that way by being able to get to where they're going, where they are and where they want to get to. So that will be accommodated within the time frame. So the bus is already, it doesn't require another bus. If somebody wants to get picked up, say on Feather Drive, the bus can work that into its existing schedule. Purple Line is going to have 4 times daily between Mountain Ranch and Jackson, the Rayleighs and Jackson, and twice a day the potential to go up to a railroad flat on demand. So I don't know that if you can see, Kelly, go back to the map. Between Mountain Ranch and Railroad, shaded in lilac, and that's because that's a on-demand section. We've tried to introduce the on-demand to get for better efficiency, so we're not running empty buses where nobody needs to go. If somebody calls and asks, there's time in the schedule to go up between Mountain Ranch and Railroad. And that's daily, or weekdays. Okay. Green Line serving West Point to Moke Hill, Moke Hill to San Andreas is one of the big changes in the new service. It's on demand only twice a week. And this is the route that had been dragging down the efficiency of the service to a great extent, that there simply weren't the riders. But we know that there's the potential for riders. The problem now is that the bus goes very early in the morning and late in the evening. People don't find that convenient. You can't really go to the doctors. You can't do an errand and then have to be gone for the whole day. So this way, Mondays and Wednesdays, and it's 4 times a day, so then now you can go for a 3 or 4 hour time frame and get the bus back. In Moke Hill, there's good connection to the bus that goes up to Jackson, 5-minute wait. And while I'm thinking of it before I pass it, I've got to say that Cynthia Lawrence, our General Manager of Paratransit Services, our transit operator, pulled all this together, all these millions of little pieces to serve groups and to make sure that the buses all meet, plus the added components of bus driver schedules and the logistics of moving the vehicles around. She did a super job, and we're glad to have this kind of a finished product to bring to you today. So that's the thing on the Green Line, and we'll be getting some hardcore outreach to let those communities know about this change in the service. I think it will serve well, and people will begin to focus their errands on those days when transit is available. Which is next? Okay, the service to West Point that is used is the evening bus home, and that serves some commuters, a lot of students that are engaged in after-school activities, sports and drama, cheer, all those things. So we're going to keep the late bus going to West Point daily. It will be on demand. That will be a simple matter of when there's a group, they can let transit know, yes, and we've already heard our schedule is going to be this day, and that day we'll have 3 kids going, and we'll always supply that service. And then during those times when school's out, if there's nobody that needs that service, the bus will not go. And that will add to the efficiency, and I think that we'll deliver the service that is needed to our community, and hopefully we can add an element of flexibility too. Watch our performance, keep an eye on our numbers, and make changes as we go. I'd like to see when we get these schedules out that they be done in a format that we're going to have a designer come in, somebody familiar with transit, to pull all this together, the rider's guide and the explanations of these on-demand things. And I'd like to see them in a format that we can make changes and reproduce them easily. Right now, it's very expensive to produce those slick rider's guides. I'd like to see them just more producible in the office. So, or send them out to the local printer, but not just make it less expensive. Okay, what do we have? I think that was it for the. Okay, so those colored lines routes were our deviated fixed route system. That's our core system. We have 2 other services that are grant funded, and we are also proposing changes to those, or mostly to the Saturday Hopper. If you haven't ridden the Saturday Hopper, I recommend it. It's a fun thing to do. Go up to Murphy's for the day, for the afternoon. And so it runs several times a day. But we've gotten a lot of requests from the Arnold area to include them. So that's what we've tried to do here. Click one more time. And we're adding Arnold. And we're doing that without increasing the costs of the program by reducing the number of runs to Valley Springs, to La Quintana Plaza. So this is the new proposed schedule for that. In conjunction with that, we're like to see, part of the resolution is to increase the fare on the Hopper from $2 to $3, just given that it does cover kind of a long distance. And then the other change is to make it so that monthly passes are valid on the Saturday Hopper. And that would serve our local residents who are regular riders of transit to ride the bus on Saturday as well. And so it would increase the value of the monthly pass. And I'll be coming back to you to talk about the Saturday Hopper at a later meeting, because we'll be applying for a grant to go for the next year. So that's something that we'll bring to you. And the Delta Gold Line runs Monday through Friday between San Andreas and Stockton. It's the intercity line. It's funded by the state, funded in part by the state's 5311 F program. And this is to provide regional transportation options. It goes to Amtrak, Greyhound, from here, also Delta College, and various places in Stockton. So what we're proposing for this are only very minor changes in the time points. It's basically twice a day, morning and afternoon. But we're just adjusting the time points to better connect to our other routes. And I think that's it. So that's our visit service. There's some give and take. And I've got to say here, too, that we, as part of this, we're cutting some of the unproductive segments, notably the service to Burson that we inaugurated a year and a half ago in response to petitions from people in Burson that wanted to use it, but it didn't really pan out. So we're going to drop that. And then also the loop in Rancho Calaveras that goes around Hartfix and Baldwin. So the farthest we'll go there is La Quintana Plaza. There's a good parking lot there. People can share rides to that location to catch transit. So all in all, this will be an increase in operations costs, for operations, fuel, and maintenance in the neighborhood. It's actually kind of a maximum around $99,000. This is estimated that every single on-demand possibility will be used. Naturally, it won't, so these estimates are high. And the increased cost will be paid by the local transportation fund, the LTF funds. But I think that what we're going to get with this is a good increase in ridership once we implement the marketing plan. I can see the ridership going up 5,000 riders a year, maybe more. And,
Is that a promise?
it is not a promise. It is it's a goal. It's a desperately held hope that I think it'll happen. You know, it's reduced that much in the last year. I think we can recover that. I think there are people that want to use transit. I think there are people who need it, who have no other way, and I think there's a lot of people who would prefer it if they have the opportunity.
Chair, I have some questions for you, and I don't mean to come out of the blue because I know we've talked before on these concerns, is to include in your report some type of an estimate goal of riders per line so we can see, you know, what are we trying to work for here in terms of a ridership number, so that you can identify, and as you've already identified some of these lines as being really good performers, but there's others that have questions on them, and then we might be able to look at our strategy and change that a little bit. Also, there is, as you know, event peaking. So when you have the Frog Town and you have other issues or events going on, that we have an opportunity to include those in the numbers as to how that reflects summer over winter kind of thing, and where is this ridership fluctuate the most and give us the most stability as well as instability. And speaking to that, also looking at each time we make a change to this type of a system, we're creating a market instability. And so constant changing, even as a 6-month or a 1-year plan, is not a good long-term solution. We need to settle in on something and create a win, even if it's in a small area or a portion of the line, and know that that's our bread and butter, and then we can expand from there. So I would like to just see that as part of this, this proposal, is looking at what the goals are that you have, and not so much an expectation that you'll meet those goals, but at least that there's a conversation around them.
We can certainly do that, and and there's not, some things are different, and there's some similarities between some of these routes and what we're currently running, and we can certainly do that.
And we'll be bringing the year-end report from last fiscal year within the next month. We're just getting in the final numbers from paratransit on some of that information. So we'll be synthesizing that, bringing it forward, and we can do a little bit of a comparison to show you, if we increase the number of routes along the red line,
Yes.
more, how we project that will impact. I mean, it's not, like you said, it's not exact science, but we can do, we can do a preliminary analysis to show you what that could look like.
Yeah, I would like to hear what your expectations are, and to know that, this is a very tough nut to crack, and both of you have done an excellent job in trying to figure it out, but stability is a key, and we need to work for stability.
Right, and utilizing the short-range transit plan has helped us immensely to zone in. Like you said, you have so many moving parts in a program like this. You change one piece, well, how does that impact the riders going to Columbia College? How does that impact the riders going to Stockton? You really have to take every single component. So that was why we focused on that red line as the backbone of the system, to make sure that the connectivity to all the other routes were there. We thought that was, paramount in making these choices. So hopefully increasing that frequency along the red line will do, the good things that we needed to do, and we'll get more riders using the service out to, using that green line every day, hopefully. So.
Well, both of you, thank you for your work on this, because it is, like I said before, a very difficult nut to crack, and you've been working on it for some time, and hopefully we'll see some.
We could not have done it without Cynthia Lawrence, so it's
Oh, where is she back there?
Raise your hand.
Raise your hand, raise your hand.
Back there next to
There
Joe.
she
We did that extreme heavy lifting.
Thank you, thank you.
No, I'll say.
Comments by the board? Further comments?
Just a quick one, Mr. Chair. I'd like to thank you guys both for all the work. As Supervisor Mills put out, it's a very complex process, and I'd like to thank you for the commitment to Upcountry and District 2. We recognize, of course, thank you also for your time in meeting the other day to go through all this. Obviously, when I read the numbers, they're pretty rough for Upcountry, just the ridership's down and the expense that it goes into it. So I want to thank you very much for that. And thank you for the commitment to really helping the kids get up the hill after school and sports. We all know our school districts are hurting, and it's a real resource for those kids to go up there. I think it's a very thoughtful plan, and I want to especially comment on your commitment to outreach and education. As we move to on-demand systems, it will take a lot of education. And as you guys know, Upcountry, not everybody hangs around the same water cooler, so you're going to have to be creative. And I thank you, and in meeting with you, I know you have the commitment to that, but it'll be a continuing and ongoing education. So, thank you.
Sure.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I would like to thank both of you, and I know that historically this program in Calaveras County has been a moving target, as you know, and I know since I was on COG and on this board several years ago. It seems that we just get to the peak of 9.5, close to the 10% recovery, and then things change and the ball moves a little bit, so we have to make adjustments to it. I don't know over the course of the last 4 years if we got to the 10%. We did get to the 10% at one point, and now we're back. The ball is moving, and it got back down to 9.5%. So I understand the dynamics of having to move it around to meet the needs of the passengers that we're trying to target and get that recovery and get them to where they need to go. So I thank you very much for your presentation and your work on this. Thank you.
Supervisor Clapp, any comments? Thank you very much. Public comment?
Al Gallant, Taxpayer Association. I too am quite impressed with the work's been done here and also the presentation. One of the things that the taxpayers are concerned about is getting a broader analysis of what's happening in transportation that actually go beyond the responsibility of this organization of Calaveras Transit. Probably one of the most important people that could look at that and to look at other possible forms of transportation that even could be in competition would be our CAO. And so I think the board would do well to ask the CAO not only to review this presentation, but other presentations that come before the board to get a wider perspective, and especially the knowledge that he's carried from other jurisdictions that could be of value to us and our taxpayers. Thank you.
Hi, Board of Supervisors. My name is Lauren Robinson. I'm a Youth Development Programs Coordinator for the County Office of Education, and I am a proponent for this plan. I've been talking with one of you, advocating for our after-school programs, one being the FNL Mentoring Program, which you just declared National Mentoring Month. We have, for the past 5 years, we've been utilizing the Calaveras Transit, and it's been a great asset to keeping our programs thriving and being able to support students, especially in West Point and Deep and Valley Springs. So many of these kids wouldn't be able to be a part of these programs that provide a safe environment and a place where these kids can be themselves around their peers. And so I just want to make sure that whatever decisions that you choose to do around the transit, that you think of the after-school programs and the kids in this county, and that you keep that in mind, because we're so grateful for all of the work that the transit has offered in support of our programs. So thank you.
Good morning. Welcome, new board members. I'm Karen Gregorius. I'm the Executive Director of the ARC of Amador and Calaveras. We serve adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities in both Amador and Calaveras County. And today I want to thank Public Works and Calaveras Transit and Paratransit for their hard work on the service plan and their great service to the community. We serve a large population of transit-dependent adults who utilize the public transit to get to work, gain employment, access services in the community, and they would have no other way to get around the community without this valuable service. I realize that the public transit is a very challenging issue, and we do support the transit plan. We appreciate the opportunity for input, and I thank the Board of Supervisors for continuing to support this essential service to the community members. Thank you.
It is still morning. Good morning. Kathy Topol, Common Ground Senior Services. I would just like to say that Common Ground also supports this in changes in their schedule. To me, working with them with the development through the SISTAC of this plan, we've been partners. They listen so well. They take the input from the community so well and really do take it to heart. So I really appreciate these ladies and what they do. The new schedule, in my opinion, especially the increase in frequency, is for the betterment of these transit-dependent individuals. Extending the Saturday hopper to Arnold was incredible. Whoever thought of that was genius. Also, the Delta Gold Line is allowing more people to get down for doctor appointments. And then lastly, I just want to mention that the schedule is so much easier to read. It is really, really done with the clients in mind instead of, I don't know, engineers or programmers or whoever put it together to begin with. And as you can see from our picture up there, thank you for using that one, we work in partnership very closely with Calaveras Transit, and we're very proud of these ladies and what they've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Any other further public comment? We'll bring it back to the board. Any board comment? I'll entertain a motion.
Is there necessity here?
Do we need a motion?
Yes, you do need a motion.
We do need a motion.
We do.
If you'd like, I can go over the elements of the resolution.
Oh, yeah.
So that does the four things.
Deborah, you might want to read those into the record before we make the motion. You just make it simpler for clarity.
All right. The resolution approves the service plan as shown in Exhibit A, and that's the list of the maps and the schedules. The routes and schedules designated as the red line, blue line, copper line, purple line, green line, and brown line, and changes the Saturday hopper schedule that adds service to Arnold and reduces the number of stops in Valley Springs. 3, changes in the fare structure of the Saturday hopper, changing the base fare to $3 and allowing the use of monthly passes on Saturdays, and 4, changes in the Delta Gold Line schedule to accommodate better connections within Calaveras County. And further resolved that minor adjustments may be made in the transit timetables without further approval of the Board of Supervisors. Just want to be able to shift things as necessary, small changes.
Was that without approval or with approval?
Without approval.
Okay. Questions? Everybody clear?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Motion by Supervisor Topanelli. Second by Supervisor Mills. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Item 20 is from Code Compliance to introduce and waive reading of an ordinance adopting Public Resource Code Section 4290, fire state regulations for state responsibility areas.
Good morning, Board. Congratulations on the new and returning members. So this is the easiest thing you'll ever have to deal with. This is already a state mandate, 4290. What this does, it regulates minimum fire safety standards throughout state responsibility areas, which Calaveras County falls into. This would relate to defensible space required around residential, commercial, industrial structures, required turnarounds for fire equipment, etc. Again, this is more just going through the motions. It's already state mandates, already state code, and now it's just a local adoption. I do have the text of the actual ordinance that will be put forth in a couple weeks. We'll be working with County Council to integrate it into, we'll have to get a new chapter in Title 15 of the Muni Code. That's pretty much what this is. If I can expand on anything, I'd be happy to.
Questions?
Introduction and waiver of reading, sorry.
It's just a very straightforward, this is,
It's as straight as it gets.
Yeah.
You guys lucked out.
We did. Thank you.
Write that down.
Board comments? How about public comments on this issue?
Cal Fire, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Okay. Bring it back to the board.
So move.
Moved by Supervisor Mills.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Topanelli. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0 unanimously.
Item 21 is also from Code Compliance to introduce and waive reading of ordinance adopting Public Resource Code sections 4291 through 4299, defensible space requirements.
So, Board, what this basically is best I can explain, is this would be accessory to or ancillary to 4290. This expands on the provisions. The broad language in 4291 through 4299 is also codified in the text I'll be giving to all of you.
Like the last one, this is state law.
State law, state mandate with a local adoption of a state mandate. Yes, sir.
I do have a question.
Sure.
Does this pertain to improved lots only, or is it to all lots without improvement?
4291 through 99 pertains to all lots, and that would require folks, well, it currently does require folks to keep their 100-foot defensible space around home structures, power lines over a certain voltage. There's also some language in there for railroad, what would apply to railroad and PG&E. However, they already conform to this. So the turnouts, road improvements, things of that nature, that's only for new construction.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Questions from the board? Public comment? Seeing no public comment, we'll bring it back to a board. Entertain a motion. So moved. Moved by Supervisor Mills.
Second.
Second by Supervisor Garamendi. I had to think about that. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes unanimously, 5-0.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Item 22 is from the Board of Supervisors to appoint the appointment of applicants to serve on various committees, commissions, advisory boards, and county service areas. This item is to accept the first applications that have been received in an ongoing process. You will have these kinds of items throughout the year to fill vacancies that exist or vacancies that occur midterm and we advertise for and then receive applications and come to you for recommendation. What I'd like to do is go through each of them, go through them one at a time to give you the opportunity to look at the names, and if they're in, if it is a district appointment to be a representative of the district, then usually what happens is the supervisor from that district will concur with the recommendation and the board will move forward. Generally, what we do is that we will go through and we will make the selections of the applicants and then do one motion and second at the end.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions? Okay. So the first one that we are going to consider is for the Agricultural Advisory Committee. These vacancies were advertised as part of the annual advertisement done in October of 2016. There is 2 applications for 2 vacancies. One, both terms expire December 31st of 2019. There is one for District 1, and the applicant is Francisca Shabram. And there is one for District 2, and an application was received from Richard Smith. I believe that the Agriculture Commissioner would like to speak to this.
Public comment, Mr. Commissioner? One quick note. Is there still a vacancy in District 5 as noted?
The only ones that are listed are the ones that we have applications for. And yes, there is still a District 5 representative that's available.
Okay, thank you.
Kevin Wright, Agricultural Commissioner. I would like to request that we postpone consideration on this particular for the Ag Advisory Committee. There's, just so we get a full complement of applications, I think there's members out there in the community who may have been surprised that it was going to come up so quick at your first meeting of the new board. And so, although I know both of the applicants, Mr. Smith and Francesca, they're both very well qualified. I am a little bit concerned that that the former incumbents may not have even known that they had to apply again when their term was up. And there were also some other applications out there that they may have not got them in yet because they didn't know it was going to be this quick. So just to assure that we have a full number of applications to consider, I would like to postpone these two for 30 days if that's possible.
Comments from the board? I don't see a
I don't have a problem with that.
I have a comment. Madam Clerk, how are these positions advertised?
They're advertised, the legal requirement is that we advertise them at the public library, at the main branch. We advertise them at all branches. It's available on our website as far as the listing of the boards, committees, and commissions. It's the staff's responsibility, if they have a staff contact for a group, for them to inform their members that their terms are expiring if they are not aware of it. It's always the first meeting of the calendar year.
Were those notifications made by staff to the remaining applicants referred to by the commissioner?
I am not the staff contact for this
Okay.
group.
Comments?
Well, just let me say that although I put forth back in December that there were openings that were coming up, as far as that goes, I don't think I made it clear to my constituents that the vote would be at the first meeting of your session. And so therefore, I believe that there are qualified candidates out there who may be surprised that we would be voting on it today.
Commissioner, how much time would you need to make those notifications?
30 days, I can tell, make sure that I get it out there that it's due, and then they can get their applications into you, and then we could vote on it either at the next meeting in 14 days or at the following one in 30 days.
Anyone have an objection to that?
No.
No.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I would agree that that might be a way to go, although reluctantly.
We can
To
just
be
table
quite
it.
honest with you, I've seen this happen in other committees where they say, well, yeah, and this is not the case here, not to my knowledge, but where they will get one application for an opening, then we're just not going to do that. We're going to wait till we get more applications. All of a sudden, that process is a 3-month process. So having that in mind, I would concur.
And for anyone that is a current member on a committee or commission, if they have an email address, we have the system that we use to manage these applications did send out an email notification 5 days before their term expired as a last-ditch effort.
I recall
So,
getting that.
just so you know.
email.
Okay,
Thank
so moving on to the Commission on Aging. Again, these vacancies were advertised as part of the annual advertisement done in 2016, October. We currently have one application for a District 1 representative for a term expiring December 31st of 2019. It is a new application, not an incumbent for District 1. The name of the applicant is Nadine Martin.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. So then I'd just like to move along to the next one.
Yeah, is there any opposition to that? No. Why don't we mention opposition, and then we'll just go on there.
Okay, that sounds good, thank you.
That's the way to do it, yeah.
Okay, so the next one is for County Service Area 12, Golden Hills, again advertised as part of the annual advertisement. There are two applications for two vacancies. One is from Jerry Mascaro, and the other is from Stephen De Arliaga, who is an incumbent.
Any opposition to those two choices for applicants? No. Okay?
The next is for the Fish and Game Commission. We have several applications for appointments. We have one application for a District 1 representative. The application is from Grant W. Randy Metzger. The second, we have another application for District 2. Randy Metzger is an incumbent. We have another one for District 2 from Karen Waldier, who is also an incumbent. We have another application for a vacancy in District 3 from Mark Oswald, who is also an incumbent. We haven't received any applications for District 4. And in District 5, there are 2 vacancies, and we have 3 applications. One is from Al Alt. The second is from Bill McGladry, who is an incumbent. And the third is from Sam Welch, who is an incumbent. So there would need to be 2 selected of the 3.
You know, have to keep the 2 that's incumbent.
Okay.
I would agree with that and concur with the 2 applicants that are incumbents.
Okay. For the IHSS Advisory Committee, we have an application for a current or past consumer. We have an application from Diane Van Overloop McNown. She currently serves in a different capacity on the committee, but would like to be considered for the current or past consumer. So she is an incumbent, just in a different role.
Any opposition? Thank you, Clerk.
The next is for the Mental Health Board. We have a vacancy for a term expiring December 31st, 2019 for a consumer or family member. The 5 does not mean District 5, it's just how I have to number them. So it's for a consumer or family member, and Patricia Davis is the incumbent, and she has submitted her application.
Any opposition to Ms. Davis? No. Thank you, Clerk.
Next is the Parks and Recreation Commission. We have 4 applications, one for each district for District 1, District 2, District 3, and District 5. The District 1 application is from Judy Allen, who is the incumbent. The District 2 application is from Reuben Childress, who is the incumbent. The District 3 application is from Alice Montgomery, who is the incumbent. And the District 5 application is from Kevin Ost. He is not an incumbent.
Any opposition to the incumbent's application? Thank you, Clerk.
And so the other is without opposition as well for
That's
District
correct.
5?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We have, the next to consider is the Planning Commission. These vacancies are in Districts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1 needs to be selected for each. For District 1, we have an application from F. Joseph Bocelli Jr. and an application from George C. Fry Jr.
You know, this is, I talked to the current person last night, Ted, had a conversation with him. He's been on this board for 20 years. I think that's a record. And I have fought with this for a long time. I know both the gentlemen here that have applied for this. Both have backgrounds in planning and land use. Mr. Bocelli is a lawyer in land use area. So I'm going to go with Joseph Bocelli for my District 1 pick.
I would concur.
For the District 2 position, we also have 2 applications. One is from Timothy Laddish, and the other is from Anthony Worcester.
I've met with both applicants. Certainly, Ms. Wooster has a tremendous experience and is going to be a real asset to our community. But I will pick Mr. Laddish as the planning commissioner from District 2, if there's no opposition.
I would concur.
From District 3, we have 1 application, and that is from Lisa Muterdes, who is the incumbent planning commissioner.
You bet I'm going to recommend her.
Is there any opposition? Okay, thank you. The next is for District 4. We have one application, and that is from Kelly Wooster, who is also an incumbent planning commissioner.
And I fully support his position.
I concur.
And lastly, for the Planning Commission is District 5. We have two applications. One is from Karen Sisk, and the other is from Benjamin Stopper, who is the incumbent.
I'm picking Karen.
Okay. The next is the Prevent Child Abuse Council. We have several vacancies, and the first one is for a representative of a parent, foster parent, or caregiver. Ileana Greisiel is the incumbent, and she is recommended by the Prevent Child Abuse Council. The next is for a representative of Health and Human Services. There are two applications. One is from Maylee Johnson. The other is from Jane Presto. The application of Jane Presto is the one recommended by the Prevent Child Abuse Council membership. And we have, the last is for another representative of Health and Human Services, and an application was received from Carrie Cannon, which is also recommended by the Prevent Child Abuse Council. So would you like to, there is one that you need to make a decision on. That's for the one representative, Maylee Johnson or Jane Presto. Jane Presto is the one recommended by the council.
I would go with that recommendation.
I concur.
I would too.
Same.
Okay, and for the last one, it's for the Public Educational and Governmental PEG Television Commission. There is a vacancy for a representative of the Calaveras County Office of Education, and we have one application from Scott Nanick, who is the incumbent.
Any opposition? No?
So I would need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Supervisor Mills, seconded by Supervisor Tofinelli, I'm sorry. Call for the vote. Oh, public comment? Do we need public comment on this? Yes, public comment. Seeing no public comment, I'll return to the vote request.
Point of order, Chair. I just want to make sure that the motion is clear that it is saving the
Ag advisory
for
the next,
Right.
for a future meeting.
Tabling that for a future meeting.
Tabling that for a future
30
meeting.
Thank
30 days.
30 days.
Within 30 days.
Okay.
And that's what we're voting on now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, I'll call for a vote. Public comment on that, just to be safe? Okay. Bring it back to the board. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Now, do we need a motion to accept the appointments?
No.
No, that did it.
Okay.
Okay, so item 23 is from the Board of Supervisors to adopt the recommended 2017 Board of Supervisors meeting calendar. The calendar that is proposed in your packet is based on the past practices of the second and the established meeting schedule of the second and fourth Tuesdays, and on the months when there is a fifth Tuesday to have a night meeting at 6 p.m. You can adopt these meetings, you can choose to add meetings, you can, special meetings can be added throughout the year as well. So it's up to the board as to how they want to proceed here.
Yeah, I believe there is some input from Supervisor Mills and some of the other board members. Supervisor Mills?
Well, my comment is this, that no more marathon sessions. If we need to add additional meeting days during the month to complete our work during normal working hours, let's go in that direction. If it's a controversial item, maybe we need to hold that in an evening meeting so that we can allow people who normally work to come and to participate. It's up to the board to decide how they want to do that, but I would prefer that whatever meeting schedule that we put together, it covers an 8-hour window and not a 10 or 12-hour window. Just my thoughts.
Comments?
No, I wouldn't mind, if something was, everyone was a lot of disagreement on, having just a special meeting for that instead of sitting here for 4 hours on one day. I'd like to see something like that. And not change our schedule, just add a special meeting for a special.
Okay. For controversial.
Right. Supervisor Garamendi?
And Clerk, did we, when we were digging this before, we found a couple glitches. Do we get, are these reflected in this updated version?
This calendar is not the agenda submittal timeline that you were talking about.
That's where I got confused on.
Yeah, and that has been corrected.
Thank you very much.
Supervisor Tofinelli?
I'm open to it. I don't see the need to go to a marathon meetings. I'm in agreement with that. At one time, when I first got on the board years ago, we were every Tuesday. And then the agendas, we were out here by 11 o'clock. So it was kind of a moot point. So I think I was on the board that actually moved this to twice a month. And I could see where some of them, because the number of agenda items that are presented and need to be dealt with over the course of every 2 weeks, some of them can get lengthy, but I think if we break it up and we call a special meeting on one of the off Tuesdays, that we could cover that, I think. So I'm open to the fact that we can work with that.
I'd like to hear from CAO Lopez and Board Clerks Severud on this. They're the folks that do the work.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I too would recommend a bi-weekly meeting and the fifth meeting if there is, or the third meeting if there is a fifth Tuesday in the evening. I had a meeting with several of the department heads yesterday, and I think we will be making an effort to try to bring these things that are clear and concise so that we are able to move forward as quickly as we can. I recognize just by seeing some of your previous meetings that sometimes there were questions that that were perhaps not well thought out when the board or the staff report was put together. So I want to emphasize that to the department heads. I think if we do, we can avoid those marathon meetings. I do not look forward to a marathon meeting either. That's just my thought, but obviously it's your choice.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Board Clerk Severud?
Our office, I don't believe, has any issue with adding special meetings as needed. I think that interim CAO Lopez has some great ideas about making sure that the items that are on the agenda are fit into the day and that we move forward with complete packets for you and the best information that we can. So I don't believe we have any issue with adding as needed.
County Council Stepfield, I know you guys do a lot of work. Any comments?
The only comment that I would put forward to the board is that typically what we see when we have marathon meetings, it's one or two very specific areas or very specific items that are an area of contention that take the majority of the day. So certainly having a special meeting, if we know that these types of items are going to be coming to the board, having a special meeting that is focused on that one item is, in my opinion, something that would alleviate the issue rather than trying to include them in a regular meeting.
What is our lead time for getting agenda items onto the agenda? I know we have a schedule for that. Is it 3 weeks, 2 weeks?
Right now, what is in place is that on the Friday, almost 2 weeks prior to the meeting, so I'll use the next meeting as our example. So for the January 24th meeting, our deadlines for departments to submit completed packets and for it to go through the review process is this Friday. So staff has to have enough time to draft their items. If other departments are involved, they need to be able to have time to get with those departments to get their feedback or their input. And then what has currently been practiced by the last board was that the board wished to have their agenda packets on the Wednesday prior to the meeting, not just the 72-hour or the Friday 5 p.m. deadline that is required by the Brown Act.
Right, and that's
So
very helpful.
the timelines that we have in place are with the intention of meeting that Wednesday time, if that's when this board would like to have their packets.
Thank you. Any public comment on this issue? Four minutes, gentlemen and ladies.
Bill McManus, Hanford Hill. When we have hopefully an increase of meetings and we have a decrease in marathons, there was one meeting not too long ago, there's 51 items on the agenda, and it becomes a real challenge for people to sit through it that long, especially when some of the big items were put at the end of that agenda. And I know that that probably is an option at the prerogative of the chair. One thing that concerns me is if we use special meetings for major items or controversial items, the noticing period for the agenda, I believe, is shorter. It's only 24 hours for a special meeting, whereas for a regular meeting, it's 72 hours. So what I would suggest is that you lay down a generous supply of regular meetings. If you don't need them, you have 72 hours to cancel them. That's plenty of time for everyone. If you do need it for a special, unusual, one-time type of meeting, then it would still have the 72-hour rule applied to it to give citizens enough time to read it either in the paper or online or other things, rather than 24 hours ahead of time. It seems like it would be a lot easier to cancel meetings that aren't needed, but have placeholders in the calendars to accommodate special meetings that may come along and not reduce the amount of advance notice and access to the agenda that the public gets. Thank you.
Mr. McManus, thank you very much for that. I wanted to share that some time ago when we were talking about going to bi-monthly meetings and the night meetings, we've had those conversations for years. The reasoning for selecting the night meetings on the 5th Tuesday was because, in large part, because there are many, many meetings throughout the county and everybody's involved in lots of different things. But nobody says, our meetings are on the 5th Tuesday of the month. It's the first and third, or the second and fourth. But they don't generally say on the 5th Tuesday. So that makes it open to everybody, and it doesn't conflict with their other meeting schedules in the county. It was something else and I've forgotten what it was, but anyway, thank you. Oh, excuse me. I remember now. When you mentioned about special, somebody mentioned if there's a special contentious type issue, to maybe do it on a night meeting. Well, if you're planning to give it 8 hours, we'll have to bring our sleeping bags. It's just won't work very well. But anyway, thank you very much.
Vicki Reinke, Angels Camp. On the meetings, I appreciate what you guys are looking to do because it sounds like it might give us more time. But there was a couple other issues. One is the preparation prior to meetings, what I've seen in the past, and I understand it's kind of the nature of the beast, but if there's a topic that you have to deal with that you feel as Board of Supervisors didn't give you enough time to study it, please, I hope in the future you'll let them know and say, can we bring this back to another meeting? So that's one. And the other is that the public wants to hear your opinions on things. That's what makes meetings go longer. I understand that. But be careful when you're trying to streamline that isn't something you cut out of the information, especially with the Brown Act now. You know, we can't just have you guys chatting with each other and making some decisions. So it's very important for the public to start hearing your rationale. And so anyway, I guess I just want to remind you of that while you're streamlining, and hopefully you don't have meetings that go beyond 8 hours. Thanks.
Al Segala, Taxpayer Association. I think we concur with Bill and Vicki about anticipating meetings which might be controversial. Quite often, when you have these type of meetings, they're not here in the Board of Supervisors. They're in a larger, in a location that can hold a larger number of people. Also, sometimes they have a tendency to be workshops which require more thought and study on some particular topic. It would seem that if you could provide more notice in advance of these meetings than short notice, that would be helpful for people to be able to come to it and also prepare for it. So, not knowing what right now, what would be a controversial topic, perhaps the marijuana ban might be, but there might be some other ones. It would seem like the best thing to do would be, when you get close to when that topic is coming up, provide the meeting date and location, and with adequate notice where the public can participate. And the notice should be similar to our regular board meetings, including the notice for preparing the packages or package for consideration. There's a 2-week period, not a 3-day period. Thank you.
So, Chair, just to dovetail onto Mr. Segala's comments, what we do is the adopted board calendar, every meeting is built into our electronic system, and it's posted on our website. So every meeting right now that is anticipated to be a regular meeting is listed there, including night meetings. In addition to that, we normally have a portion of the agenda that's at the very end that says upcoming items, and we list special meetings that would be coming up that we know about, or special topics of discussion. So like we've listed, like in September, we were going to talk about the general plan. So we listed that so that people would know things that were coming up and what we would be looking for. So we do provide that information on a regular basis. So today's agenda doesn't have that upcoming items because we didn't have any yet. So I couldn't list anything, so I just took that header off. But normally that's where that would be.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that you as board members are going to know of issues that are really hot in your district, and you're going to get correspondence in advance, and you can make the adjustment with the chair and the supervisor of that district that has an issue. You just really can't not know that. I spent many years in the land use planning department at planning commission meetings and figuring those kinds of things out in advance. And we would shuffle them off to another meeting that was a lighter agenda to do that. It's just really a lot of common sense, and it makes it a lot easier on Diane and the CAO and the chair and maybe the supervisor who has a huge issue on an item that's going to come before the board ought to sit down and figure that out and decide that should be on another agenda. And that's my suggestion.
Yeah, Mr. Fry, it's a very good suggestion. It's my intention to follow that philosophy here with our new board. I'd like to take just a quick moment and recognize, excuse me, Mr. Dana Jorgensen of Mr. Berryhill's office and Mr. Bigelow's office, and also everybody else that attended. Very special that Dana would take time out to attend our first board meeting here. Thank you very much, Dana. Any more public comment?
Good morning.
Hi.
Or
afternoon, maybe it is. Rebecca Turner, clerk recorder, clerk to the board for the purposes of this discussion. I heard you guys talking about the meeting calendar, and my only concern at this point, I'd be more than happy to accommodate whatever it is you guys wish to do, is that the board clerk currently has a lack of staffing if the meetings were to go to every week. So that's something that definitely is an option in our eyes. However, who would serve as backup if Diane had to be here every Tuesday? I'm more than happy to serve as her backup. The only issue is I'm the department head for 4 departments, and that makes it very tough to say, yes, I can sit in a board meeting as her backup and be available. So if it was to go to every week, we would be coming back and saying we definitely need another clerk to the board to back her up. So that was just my input. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment? I'll bring it back to the board. Any further board comments? We need a motion on to accept the calendar. So moved. Moved by Supervisor Mills.
Second.
Second by Supervisor Tofinelli. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, we have, okay, just a quick moment, Madam Clerk. We have a presentation at 12:30. And reporting out will take us about 15 minutes, maybe?
You do have the continuation of public comment from
We
this
do,
morning.
that's right, okay, thank you. And then we can move to that.
That is next.
Okay. At this time, we're to continue public comment, general public comment. Anybody that has comments, please feel free to come to the microphone. You'll have 4 minutes.
I don't want to feel like Jack in the Box, but, you know, I've been coming to these meetings since January of '78. I've missed a few, obviously. But the biggest concern I have, and I had that as an employee, is that when boards came and went, that it seemed to be the same thing over and over. We pay a CAO a salary and all the benefits, and certain board members throughout the years, from 1978 up until now, they wanted to micromanage the CAO and run to the department heads instead of going through the CAO. And if you want to do that, then don't have a CAO, and we can save about $200,000 a year. And I'm not being critical when I say this. I just don't think it's really good management. And I'm hoping, after 39 years being in this county, that this board will make a change. I'm real hopeful. I think we have a great new board, and I hope for it to go places that will improve the county and the constituency in this county. So I'm just giving that food for thought, that if you have an issue, I mean, unless it's a crisis, please use your CAO. Otherwise, you're not backing your CAO. And, you know, I live a short distance from here. I know a lot of employees. Their biggest complaint is that everybody on the board is running around behind the CAO, and the CAO doesn't have any backing. And it's really a sad commentary. I spent 10 years in mid-management at Sears, and I never saw it run like this. I was in the Army for 2 years. I never saw it run like this. You have a chain of command. So I'm pleading with you to start using it. I see some real talent on this new board, and I hope that you will take this to heart. I see some people here on this board that I know have the ability to do that. So please, when you get your new CAO, back that person. And if you need to talk to the department head, then talk to the department with the CAO in there. Don't run around behind the back. Just ask yourself, how would you feel about that if you were the CAO and those people on the board were running around behind your back? Nothing's that critical that you can't go to the CAO. And I'm sure after having spent, probably 30 minutes with our interim CAO last week, that he has a lot of good suggestions. And I am appreciative, even though I'm not so sure if I was a board member, I could have selected an interim CAO when you've got a new set of Board of Supervisors coming on board. But I think they made a very good selection. So please listen to them. Thank you very much. Especially you're the carryover. I think they made a very good selection. So that's all I want to say about it. Now I'm going to wait and see if we can bear the fruit.
Appreciate your comments, George.
Serves me right for not jumping up on public comment. Dana Jorgensen, I'm with Senator Berryhill and Assemblyman Bigelow. New board today. Just wanted to greet you all, say hi. I'm still here. I didn't know what to think when I got here today, and just observing the 5 of you, I'm pretty pleased with what I'm seeing. I'm really hopeful for your future. You've had a long haul recently. I think, frankly, your jobs are harder than the jobs of the supervisors in Tuolumne or Amador, honestly. And I wish you well on that, and I feel good about where you're going. One thing I just want to throw out, I really do think you should look at getting a CAO and having somebody commit for 5 years. That's my personal opinion on observing different boards of supervisors. You need some consistency, and I think I'm seeing a little gelling of this today, and I'm really excited about that. I want to say hi. I have an office in Jackson. Give me a call. We were helping with the Butte fire. I know that's still going along. There's a lot to do there still. If you have things that you need us to work on or get on, let us know. The marijuana issue, I do not. That's a very, 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 very difficult issue. And I wish you well on that issue. I get paid to have opinions, and I have opinions about probably everything. And I think my opinion changes on that at different times. And I'm getting phone calls from this county that I don't get from other counties. I'll just say that. And so you guys need to take that issue, make a decision, make it together, and go on, and we'll go from there. One of the other issues that's coming up in the legislature, I know the governor's proposing his budget today, and I don't have a lot of information about that yet, is one of the issues that we're dealing with is transportation. It's an issue that we've kind of been kicking down the road for a long time. There are 2 bills. Senator Beal from San Jose has SB1, and Assemblyman Frazier it says that's AB1. I'm not sure if that's true. They would roughly both raise about $6 billion. They would come from increases in the gas tax, and that's 12 cents a gallon, and registration fees. There is a $10 registration fee that has already been signed into law by Governor Brown. It's $10 per car. That's going into effect fairly soon. That is for the CHP, I understand. So this would be on top of that. So I was following your transportation presentation. I know one of the inputs was the gas prices. That might be affected somewhat. I do think something is going to occur with that issue this year.
30 seconds.
For Assemblyman Bigelow, you know, if we're going to have a transportation bill, it's got to be for roads. You need roads that need to be fixed and patched. We have probably some intersections. I know you probably have a lot of proposals that you would like to do. I love to see the one in Valley Springs that was finally done. That took forever. So let's find some new ones on our list, and let's work on those as well. And paying down debt. We're here to listen to you. I hope you will love to work with you. And my job is to give people information. I found on Wayfair, the clock looks similar to that one. It says it's $299, but it's 20% off. And 2-day free shipping. So
I'm going to
maybe
let you
that's the
continue
answer.
because that was asked several times.
Huh?
I do have a price.
Okay, secret price.
But I am going to cut you off.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Good
you,
luck.
Mr. Jorgensen.
Will you be around after the meeting? Or what? Only about 20 minutes?
Yeah, for a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to be done here pretty quick, it looks like.
Because I'd like to talk to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, you bet.
We do have several other speakers, I believe.
Hi, Board. I'm Trevor Whitkey. I'm a recent addition to the CCA Board. First off, congratulations to everyone incoming and the incumbents. You guys have all done a very good job, and congratulations on winning your respective elections. Looking forward, CCA looks forward to working with all of you and trying to figure out a way that we can move forward with regulations in the county. That's our goal. So, with that in mind, we'd like to echo some of the concerns expressed by Bill McManus and his colleagues regarding public safety. We very much support continued efforts and support of Rick DiBasilio's office in regard to public safety, and we feel that continuing regulations is one of the ways we can show our support for the sheriff. The funds that we provide through the urgency ordinance are helpful for staffing and for equipment purchases in the sheriff's office, and we want to see that continuing going forward. We also want to see the taxation through Measure C and the funds that we raise through those canopy tax going to supporting the sheriff's office. And we think that the primary way to actually address some of the budget issues is through this windfall that we can get through Measure C taxes. In addition to this, we also believe that significant progress has been made in the last few weeks with regard to inspections. We're very thankful to county staff and the different departments who are streamlining this process and getting more people through the program. And we also want to say thank you to the sheriff for having eliminated a record number of illicitly grown marijuana plants in the county this last year. We think that the urgency ordinance and continued regulations are going to help in that effort to clamp down on illicit cultivation and make it so we have a strict, robustly enforced, regulated system where we don't have diversion going into the black market and things of this nature. And so, yeah, we just want to say thank you to everyone, and we really do look forward to working with all of you in the coming year and hope that we can keep these regulations going. Thank you.
Mike Falvey, Mountain Ranch. Number one, I think that I represent a fair amount of your constituents that, for whatever reason, they don't come to these meetings. But I think you can look at me and feel that I speak for quite a few people in the area. With that in mind, for you who don't know, I'm a 40-year plus resident of District 2, Mountain Ranch, kind of in the middle of the Butte Fire, within a mile of the geographical center, and as far as I'm concerned, right in the middle of the invasion. A couple weeks ago, a cat moved into the property next to me that was sold July or August. The house burnt down. It's been vacant ever since. Someone bought it. They told the realtor they were going to grow. They moved a cat in and they leveled the hill. As far as I'm concerned, and they're going to grow. I went up there on my quad. I trespassed, but there was no one there. They've got their areas for the grow. As far as I'm concerned, if a ban passes, you're going to be looking at that from now into perpetuity. We need regulation. Without regulation, there's going to be guys moving in doing that, bringing their cats in, putting in their plants, with no repercussions from law enforcement or the county. I got a flannel on, I got a hat. You might say, that guy, he's speaking from he looks like a grower. I'm not a grower. I grew 40 years ago in Mountain Ranch, but I neither grow nor use the product anymore. What I'm concerned about is this county's future. And with a ban, we're going to get run over. I know growers that in the Mountain Ranch area, I've been told by legitimate sources that they're looking forward to the ban, and they're going to double down their efforts. Like they're going to Vegas and they're doubling down. Who's going to pop them? They go into those back 40s, they can do whatever they want to do. No repercussions. So I would highly encourage you, number one, I didn't realize that the ban proposition would be coming in front of you for a vote before going to the people. That would be wrong, number one. So I wouldn't go there. Number two, I would highly encourage you to renew the urgency ordinance and then immediately get some regulation going. Because without regulation, and a ban is not regulation, a ban is a ban. Without regulation, we don't stand a chance out there. I'm surrounded, I'm going to have to move. I don't stand a chance. I want regulation. I want the sheriff driving up the driveways. And with the ban, we won't have that. So please renew the urgency ordinance with an eye towards regulation, taxation, tax the heck out of them, okay? And use that money to build up law enforcement and take care of a problem that was created by your predecessors. They kicked the can down the road. Nothing intended personal, Mr. Olvera.
30 seconds.
But I started talking to my supervisor and other supervisors 3 years ago. I saw it coming. The Butte fire hit. We're dead meat. So please regulate. Don't ban.
Thank you.
Al Segala, Taxpayer
Al, is
Association.
this your second time for public speaking?
No.
Okay, just checking.
I'm not speaking on behalf of the Taxpayer Association because we haven't taken a position on marijuana, except to try to provide balanced presentation on both sides. And we've done that through our Taxpayer Alert TV program, and also in meetings with our board of directors where we've invited both people to try to have a meeting of the minds on the topic. And there's so much I don't know about this issue. It seems like the feeling is we got a bad product, bad people, get them out of the county. Well, that's pretty clear and simple to look at. But when we look closer, maybe it's not really true. Not really true. And then the next thing is, we've got to have government do something. It's got to be government's responsibility. If it happens in the county, the government's responsible. Well, that's not really true either. Unless you're a totalitarian state, and we're not there yet. So we have two types of law, which some of you are aware of, and one is common law, when it has to do with individual rights and trespass and how people can relate with each other. It's not based on politics or politicians, it's based on precedent. The other type of law is regulatory law, and this is what you mostly deal with, is regulatory law. When regulatory law dovetails with common law, I'll give you an example. You remember the federal government passing a law that everybody must drive 55 miles an hour on a freeway that's designed for 80 miles an hour? How'd that fly? It didn't fly because it didn't dovetail. It didn't dovetail with the rights of the people. We have to remember that. So if anything you do in regulatory law needs to respect the individual rights, not only the neighbors that are being abused by some marijuana farmers, but also marijuana farmers themselves. Our previous sheriff, when farmers thought they were protecting their property from theft, kill people, and that's murder. And the sheriff indicated that even though there's a black market environment, his thought was his responsibility was to protect the rights of all the people, including the growers. If somebody's stealing marijuana, they need to report it to the police, not hide it from the police. They need to have law enforcement protect everybody's rights. There's certain principles that are clear, at least to me, that if we follow, we'll stay out of trouble. And I sent you an email. There's 7 questions involved with this. And but probably the biggest thing that I personally would like to see, because it's so important, and there is a large number of people on both sides of this issue, is to don't try to pass the law yourself, and don't ignore it.
30 seconds.
Put it on the ballot and let the public decide. Thank you.
Thank you.
Afternoon, Mark Bolger, Mountain Ranch. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for the willingness that you're putting for the next 2 or 4 years respectively, or maybe 10 or 20, who knows, we'll see. Often it's a thankless job. I very much appreciate the time you gentlemen are willing to put forward. We've got some huge issues breathing down our neck right now: tree mortality, butte fire recovery, the general plan, and cannabis, I guess. So I would like to echo Mr. Whitkey's sentiment that, the Calaveras Cannabis Alliance is looking forward to continuing to work with the Board of Supervisors and county government. I think that the passage of Measure C is an opportunity that this county cannot turn its face against. I'm saddened to hear some of the stories that are coming from certain aspects of this industry. While I do think they are on the periphery of the normalized above-board producers that have stepped up to work with the county on this, they do exist. And we can't stick our head in the sand. They're not going to go away. The only way we're going to deal with that is tackling the issue. Obviously, the proponents of the ban have collected enough signatures. It seems like this is probably going to be something that the people of Calaveras are voting on. I would encourage the board not to lose sight on still working towards a permanent ordinance. We've got the environmental impact report that should be coming in hopefully fairly soon. I think that, as many people that understand how agriculture works, when one season stops, the next one starts right then. There is no standstill in any agricultural sector. And I think that, working with the community on this needs to continue right now. Otherwise, we're just going to run into bigger problems further down the road. So thank you again for your gentlemen's time, and look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Mark. Public comment? Go back to 12 or 18. We're going to go back to agenda item 18. Have an opportunity to report out from Ms. Stevens.
I'm so sorry that I had to come back. So thank you all for being patient and waiting. I hope that you'll find our information very optimistic and beneficial for the work that's happening on the behalf of all of the volunteers that are committed to the Calaveras Recovers team. So I wanted to update you today on our cases. And when I'm concluded with this information, remind me that I want to tell you one other thing that's not actually here for me to report out to you on relative to the work that's happening for Calaveras Recovers. And this information that I'm providing to you as a board and to the entire community is actually with the teamwork that happens with Calaveras Recovers in an effort with the Red Cross. So these are the numbers that are coming forward from their casework that's happening in the field and in our office in Mountain Ranch. Currently, we have 220 cases that are closed. We have 18 right now that we're looking at in the rebuild mode. I want to emphasize, though, that 8 of those cases currently just came to us within the last 2 weeks when we announced publicly that we would be closing our efforts taking on new cases. So those last-minute people, thank goodness, were able to participate in the last-minute efforts. What I mean by that is that we're not at the stage yet where those 8 new cases have actually fit the criteria. We do not know that they will actually become builds. Hopefully they could, we just don't know yet. It's very preliminary for us. We do have 10 active cases that are in the build mode, and what I mean by that is the construction mode. We have 4 open cases with unmet needs, and we have 12 cases that are pending for callbacks and verifications, and we have 10 cases of residents that have passed away. We have 36 that have moved away, and we have 26 open active cases that have met the qualifications for the house in the box that are all included in the above numbers. So that brings us to a total case amount of 346. So what I wanted to say to all of you is I want to encourage each one of you, especially the 4 of you that are new in this role, respectively new in this role consistently with positive respect to our District 1 supervisor, that we as a team for Calaveras Recovers and we as a board would love to see any of you at any time and any of the department heads within the county and any of the community members attend any one of our board meetings. We meet the 3rd Thursday of every month at 4 p.m. at the Church of Latter-day Saints here in San Andreas on Churchill Road. So we would love to see any of you at any time. You can come and meet all of the people that are doing a lot of heavy lifting. We have a lot of work ahead of us. We feel very optimistic about the work that's happening. We have amazing community partners within Calaveras County and beyond, including our Tri-County area. We have amazing relationships with FEMA, Cal OES, and all of our volunteer organizations throughout the nation. You should be very proud of the work that has happened here because it is 100% voluntary. So our entire board is volunteer. We all, most of us, are working professionals and have other responsibilities, but we're very committed to seeing this forward. We know that, hopefully not in our lifetime, but we do know that there probably will be another catastrophe for Calaveras County, and our intention is to lay the groundwork going forward so that in the event that something happens in the future, this framework will already be established. So that's all that I have for you today. If you have any questions at any time, please contact us. We have an amazing website that volunteers have put together. And again, I know there's a lot of things happening in Calaveras County. I've lived here 40 years. I've been on that roller coaster, but there's a lot of really good things happening in Calaveras County, make no mistake.
So what was your additional thing you were going to tell us?
That was it. I wanted to implore all of you, encourage you to come to any of our meetings anytime. And some of you I've seen attend. But it's just, I think, important for you to know that this is something that you can be involved in, but not in a hands-on way. You have enough going on. But you could just come and get a feel of the work that's happening, meet the team of people that are dedicated. I'm very minimally involved. The heavy lifters are the Alan Senders and the Lori Gianninis and our case management team. Those are the people that have worked effortlessly, and some of the existing board members prior to you that were actually on this board that gave us tremendous support. So going forward, it's a good new day for Calaveras County, but we certainly don't want the public to ever lose sight that we have multiple families in Calaveras County that are going to be rebuilding, maybe not physically in the way of a home structure, but they're rebuilding emotionally. And I've said this 100 times and I'll keep saying it. If you can't give monetarily donations, we'll take your love and support and prayers any day of the week. So thank you.
Ms. Stevens?
Yes, Mr. Garrett.
I just want to thank you very much for the work that Calaveras Recovers is doing. I understand a couple homes, one's getting close to completion. I believe volunteers from the Nazarene Church. Yeah, is that correct? And then the Mennonites are getting ready to start on another one. So
exactly.
Congratulations on keeping things moving forward and cracking that whip and keeping all of us online too.
It's a good day for our community in every way. So thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that. We have a great team. Thank you.
You have a great team.
Any other future or further comments?
There's no comments. Just tabled it.
Okay, we just tabled. I believe we can go to
You can go to supervisor announcements now.
supervisor announcements.
No.
We did
There was
that
already
before.
public comment this morning.
We did that earlier.
Supervisors' announcements, board member announcements in compliance with AB 1234, chaptered as Government Code Section 53232.3D. This is the time for board members to report on meetings attended on behalf of the county and to carry out their duties as a county supervisor.
I think we'll start with Supervisor Tofinelli.
I don't have anything to report at this time.
Supervisor Jack Garamendi. Supervisor Clyde.
Thank you. Yeah, what I'd like to bring up traffic ordinance in the heavy population areas. And I can't talk too much about now because it's not agenda. And then, so I'd like to have that put up when we can have staff come in and get that started. Because my neighborhoods are real populated and we have a lot of problems with traffic. I talked to Rick, the sheriff, and there's some things he needs to bring up that it needs to be in front of the board. And also, I like to review our noise ordinance because it got really ripped down the last time. Because my district, I could pretty much walk my whole district. It's real high populated.
Right.
And it needs to be treated a little different than someone, on 100-acre lots and stuff. So I'd like to see the board.
I think we can, if you'll send an email to our board clerk, she can arrange to sit down study session on those issues if we need one, or direct us in the right Public Works, CHP, Sheriff's Department, on the traffic issues, noise issues, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Mills?
Yeah, I just have a number of items I'll also email to the board clerk as well. I'd like to have some type of a review of our organizational chart and reporting structure in advance of the hiring of a new CAO so that we're all kind of on the same page with that in a discussion, an open discussion. I believe that we need to possibly review the boards, the committees, the commissions that we have for their value that they're bringing to us. Oftentimes, we may be sitting on a committee or a commission, and what value is it for us as a whole? Just an opportunity to have that discussion. I'd like to see correspondence back at the end of the agenda. I know it's been on and off over the years, and maybe it's a discussion that the board needs to have. Kudos to staff in this rainy period. Really a great job. Public Works, the sheriff, the MAC team, the public information officer, everybody, they put it together. And although we've had some concerns, we've had some issues out there, nothing major. So it's thanks to the staff for keeping us all in line in this difficult time. So we appreciate that.
Thank you, Supervisor Mills. I have a couple of things to report out on. We attended, of course, our new Board of Supervisors swearing in last Tuesday. And on Thursday, I attended the Juvenile Hall grand opening in Sonora. That is a wonderful facility. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I had the privilege of sitting on the advisory board, but most of the work had already been done. But I was very impressed. They've done a great job. Now, that means a lot to Calaveras County because before, when we had juveniles that were to be incarcerated for various serious crimes, we had to transport them to Nevada City. And it was very high cost. Now, with our facilities being so close in Tuolumne County through contractual agreements, we'll be able to free up some of our folks in our probation department because that's handled by our probation department. But the facility itself is just, it's clean, it's modern, they provide education, they provide a way to go, if you will, to our juveniles. So I'm happy to see that happen. I attended several phone conferences on our tree mortality on the state level for our task force, most recently yesterday. And I'm proud to say that Calaveras County looks like they will be receiving, hopefully, a curtain burner and some adjacent equipment, some required equipment of operation very soon. I guess that issue will be coming to the board on the 24th, if I'm correct. County Council?
Yes.
We should be coming to the board on that. And lastly, I'd like to answer some questions from our citizens. You're right, $299 plus 20%. And this is a countdown clock. Now, this is being used in several different counties, and believe me, folks, it actually facilitates our public speaking and our addressing by the public, and we get enough time to say what we need, but it gives the opportunity for folks to say what's on their minds. And to answer the question, I was a person that recommended to the CAO that we get it, and admin went ahead and authorized it. Thank you, admin. And unfortunately, we don't have a setting for 4 minutes, I'm informed. So next time, it'll either be 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and we'll discuss that with the board. That's all I have. Anything else? CAO Lopez, any comments?
None, Mr. Chairman.
County Council Stedfield?
The only thing that I would report out is, as the board knows, my office sought an Attorney General opinion as it related to filling the vacancy for the sheriff. It's been a long wait, but the AG did officially issue the opinion at the end of last year. I got a copy of it first thing this year. I do have a copy of it on the County Council website.
No, thank you. And Board Clerk Sever.
We don't have anything today, thank you.
Do we need a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. It's been a pleasure serving my first session as board chair. I would look forward to it.